Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into one of the biggest challenges out there, building what we call a rich life. And look, this isn't just about saving more money. We're going to uncover why the truly wealthy focus on buying back their time, not just pinching pennies. And we'll see how getting rejected from Harvard actually created the world's greatest investor. All right, let's get into it. This quote right here is the perfect place to start because it really gets to the heart of the matter. You know, when we talk about money regrets, we're not just talking about dollars and cents. Not really. We're talking about those lost opportunities, the dreams you had to put on hold, and the one thing you can never, ever earn back, time. So first things first, we've got to understand the enemy. We're going to take a hard look at the most common financial traps that people fall into time and time again. Because, let's be honest, you can't build a solution until you know exactly what problem you're trying to solve. You know, financial expert Ramit Sethi spent 20 years just listening to people's money stories, and he found that the same painful regrets kept popping up. Things like not investing early enough and missing out on all that incredible compounding growth, or buying a house that feels more like a financial prison than a dream home, and of course, chasing those get-rich-quick schemes. But what's the root cause? It almost always boils down to the same two things: fear and just not having a simple plan for the future. Okay, let's zero in on that housing trap, because it is a big one. This number? That's the price of a condo a couple named Eric and Elena bought in Toronto. Now, they had a great combined income, about $160,000 a year, so on paper, you'd think this was a totally manageable purchase. And this is where things get really interesting. Look at the gap between what they thought they would pay and what they actually paid. The mortgage itself was $2,600, but once you threw in taxes, maintenance fees, and all those other little phantom costs, their real monthly bill was $3,500. That difference pushed them right into a crisis where they were literally burning through $1,000 of their savings every single month. Avoiding those traps is absolutely crucial, but it's really only half the battle. To actually build wealth, you have to go on offense. So what are the wealthy doing differently? Well, it often comes down to just a few secret, kind of counterintuitive habits. And here it is, the big one. This is such a powerful mindset shift. Most of us, we're taught to save money no matter what. But the wealthy, they understand that their time is the most valuable, non-renewable resource they have. They will gladly trade money for things like grocery delivery, for better software, for help, to buy back hours that they can then use to earn more, or to think bigger, or even just to rest and recharge. They also have a completely different relationship with debt. For a lot of people, debt is this trap you use to buy stuff that goes down in value, like a fancy new car. The rich, though, they see debt as a tool. They call it leverage. So they might borrow money at, say, 5% interest to buy an investment that they believe will grow by 10% a year. They're making money on the difference. It's really all about using other people's money to buy assets that make you more money. And here's another classic trap: the siren song of a good deal. We're all conditioned to feel so smart when we get a discount, right? But one expert put it perfectly. That's often just losing money slower. Wealthy people focus on utility. They ask a different question. Does this purchase actually improve my life or my ability to earn more? If the answer is yes, they'll happily pay full price. If it's no, then it's way too expensive, even if it's 90% off. And this quote, wow, it just brilliantly sums up their entire approach to risk and getting things done. They would much rather spend a little bit of money on a failed experiment and learn a valuable lesson fast than lose years just being paralyzed by the fear of getting it wrong. The cost of doing nothing is almost always higher than the cost of a small mistake. So all this sounds good in theory, but how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, let's turn to the ultimate case study in long-term thinking: Warren Buffett. His entire life is basically a masterclass in applying these principles with just incredible, unwavering discipline. Just look at this timeline. This is not a story of getting rich quick. It's the complete opposite. That first investing mistake he made when he was just 11 years old, it taught him patience for life. A huge rejection from Harvard at 19, it put him on the path to find his greatest teacher. And what's just staggering is that almost all of his massive fortune was earned after he turned 50. I mean, that is the magic of compounding right there in action. And this single quote, this is the bedrock of his whole philosophy. And it came directly from that painful lesson he learned as a kid. He sold his first shares and made a tiny profit, only to watch them absolutely skyrocket to nearly $200. He never ever forgot that the real money is made by the people who are willing to wait.
And his second famous role? It's all about emotional control. He knew that markets just swing back and forth between total euphoria and sheer panic. So his strategy was simple: detach from that emotion. Buy when everyone else is freaking out and selling, and be cautious when everyone else is getting swept up in irrational greed. It's all about being the rational one when the world is not.
Okay, so we've looked at the regrets to avoid, the mindsets you need to adopt, and the master to study. So what does this all mean for you, right here, right now? We can actually boil all this wisdom down into a really simple, actionable framework so you can start building your own rich life. Here it is, your 3-step plan. Step 1, just start now, even if it's small. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's just to get time working for you instead of against you. Step 2, play the long game. Think like Buffett. Consistency over decades is what wins, not intensity for a few weeks. And step 3, invest in yourself. This is the ultimate wealthy habit, spending money on courses, books, or tools that build your single greatest asset, which is you. And that really brings us to the final thought here. All of this knowledge, it's pretty much useless without action. The single biggest regret people have isn't usually the mistakes they made, it's the opportunities they missed because they just couldn't decide. Taking control of your financial future starts with one single decision. So, what's yours going to be?